We are about to go live. So, I'm going to do it very unfiltered, very raw. I'm going to just share my entire screen and you're going to see me messing around with the Toolhouse CLI. All right, I'm Daniele, I'm the CEO of Toolhouse. And we're just going to mess around a little bit to see what we can find. As you go along, just, let's see what happens. Ooh, infinity mirror. All right. I'm going to forget about this. Here's our Discord. Join us. First and foremost, how do we download the Toolhouse CLI? I'll set you up. So Chrome, Toolhouse.ai. That's it. npm install toolhouse.ai/CLI. Then when you go to the docs, you're going to be able to see in the quick start everything you need. So first of all, what you need to do is to log in using a th login. What it does, you can expect nothing out of the ordinary. So we do th login. It opens a browser. Then in the browser, you're going to get all logged in. Perfect. We're all set. Now, we built the CLI so that it can really tell you a story without you figuring out what to do next. So every time you complete a command, and this command is part of a larger workflow, you're going to see something like this. Next suggested action, what you can do. So obviously now we're going to type in th-new and see what happens. So th-new creates a new agent. It gives you a name already that you can customize. Obviously here I'm just going to go with the flow, so it's not frog b. There you go. And then again it tells you, okay, what can you do next? You can run this agent, or you can deploy it, or you can also just like take a look at it. So every agent becomes a file in Toolhouse. So I'm going to just see what's inside this file. All right, so let's do it. Code, color me old-fashioned, but I still use VS Code. So this is the agent we just created. Look at this. So we already have all the information created. The good thing about agent files is that those are basically YAML file, and YAML file are super cool to work with because they're super natural, super like human friendly. There's a template, obviously, create a writer, so it writes a short story about a specific topic. Perfect, and that's all we need. So I'm just going to figure out what's next. Th-run. So I'm actually going to copy paste this command, th-run. It's not throw b, and see what happens. So we are running with a default kind of set of settings. Okay, the story has been streamed. Nice. Okay, it's very long. It's not too short. So how about we actually transform this into a poem, maybe like a short a haiku, like a short poem about this topic. So I save, I go back. Yeah, I took my prompt. It's streaming. Okay, this is a poem. Perfect. Okay, this worked. So now, next suggested action, I deploy this. Okay, th deploy. Th deploy. It's deploying. Perfect. So for each deployment, I get a URL to this agent, visibility, private or public, which means that if it's private, I need to call the agent with an API key, then the region and an instance, which I guess is the same for everybody. Now, what can I do is basically just like run this. When I run this, I'm probably going to get the same results as before. What happens if I make this public? I redeploy this. All right, I don't need the API key, so I guess I can do this. So let's do this. And this is just a curl. Perfect. That's the same result as before. Love it. So basically in like 2 minutes, we built our first agent. That's so cool. And so this is an API. So this is available everywhere. So what if I go on the browser? I can probably see the same results, right? I guess it's loading right now. And this is it. Yep. So basically, these agents are ready to ship everywhere. Nice. All right. Obviously, I cheated. I built this entire thing, so I know how to use it. So I created a different prompt here. That's for an agent that gets the latest tweet from an account we want, and it categorizes it into one category. So by default, we're using Tools AI, but we can obviously create what we want. So I'm going to do this in a way so you're going to see different X accounts. So this is pretty clear. Like what it does is getting a tweet, analyzing it, and if it fits in one of those categories, great. Otherwise, it tells us other, and then it gives us a brief description, brief explanation of why it chose this category. Let's do it. I want to just run this. So th run tweet categorization. Okay, let's see what it outputs. Oh, cool. So it's obviously using our MCP server to search X. It got, oh, cool. It's obviously about the CLI live stream. So it's an event. Yes. Perfect. So if you're following us from X, there you go. You have it. And now we can deploy this. And when we deploy this, we can use it with other accounts. So let's mess around with this. I'm going to use this to th deploying agent. Great, we got the URL public. I'm going still doing the curl. I'm going to just use a request here. So I'm going to open my client. I use Hopscotch, which is basically the open source version of Postman. So you don't have to like sign up for Postman or do anything. Just like use this. So the agent doesn't require an API key because it's public, and by default this is going to get me Tools AI, but I can change it and I can pass whatever account I want, and you can do that too. So if you copy this, you can get your own agent that checks one account you want and gives you the category of that tweet. So let's use a different account to do this. We do this through variables, or vars for short. And as you saw in the th file here, see, this is the variable. This is how you define a variable. So curly brackets, name of the variables, and then you put this same value, x account here, into the vars section. And then you give them a default value. So this is basically the fallback value you can use. Once you do that, when you just create a post request to the agent, it goes with the default value. But you can also override this default value with another value. And so you just pass another vars payload here with, guess what, x account. And then let's see what Open AI is up to. So just do this, send a request, it's going to run. And let's see what's going on in OpenAI's land. So this is going to work on our MCP servers. There you go. Got the tweet. Yep. GPT-401. Today they released this like new models. Naming doesn't make any sense at all, as always. There you go. Link. Fantastic. And this is a product update. Great. See how easy it is? Obviously, this you can run it anywhere. It's an API. So you don't really have to use any weird SDK or anything like that. Like if this runs on your HTTP client, it runs as a curl, and you're going to see the request streaming. So this is in the background is calling our MCP servers that fetches X through the X API, gets the value of the tweet, then it does the thinking about what category is, and there you go. So this is super cool way of building agents and just like running them. So it goes without saying, but probably I'll repeat it again. When we deployed, so we did this command, th deploy, I can redeploy again. Every deployment basically fetches the data from this file here, prepares the production environment, and ships the agent into our runtime, our backend. So our backend then gives you a URL, which is agents.clouds.ai, and then the ID of the agent. So this is the ID of the agent here. All right, you will have any unique identifier of the agent for each one of the agents you create, and that's always different. Then you can make the agent public or private. The difference between a private agent and a public agent is that the public agent is a URL you can call, just like you will call, you will go on a page. You know, pages don't require like username and password if you need to like consult something. So those are public. All the agents can be made public or private. Private, when you mean that you need to call the agents.clouds.ai URL with an API key. And the API key is the same API key that you get when you sign up for toolhouse.ai. So when you go on app.toolhouse.ai, your API keys are under your name and then API keys, and you're going to see the API keys here. You can create as many API keys as you want, okay? So when you deploy the agent, those agents are also available in Agent Studio. Here, you're going to see basically the agents you deployed. And so tweet categorization, there you go. This is the agent we just deployed. So you see last updated 11:51, which is like 2 minutes ago. That's us. So you can also use it here if you want. And this is more like a playground for us. Okay, so this was the one good use case, but we can have more, obviously. You saw how the CLI works. Super simple. So we made it with just like 2 single characters, th, enter, and then you get this. Then you log in. You need to do the login only once. The new creates a new agent file, runs it, so you can test it out without deploying it. And then you can deploy it once you're happy with the changes. Then you can also create a schedule, meaning that we have our own cron service, and our cron service allows you to run those agents autonomously at a specific cadence you want, like every 5 seconds. Let's see, th schedules on the tweets categorization. Oh, sorry. Let's see. You can also do th help schedules. There you go. So I'm actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do a npm I minus g because I'm using the internal version. So I can show you exactly how it looks like. There you go. Oh, file exists. See the perks of testing things out. There you go. Now th schedules ls. Or you're right. Which file I want to use? This one. There's no schedules for this agent. Okay, let's create one. New. So we can define the schedule we want for this agent, and we can say either the cron expression, which is super hard to get right. And so we built this nice thing that allows you to use the plain English version. So you can just use the plain English version of what you want to say, like every Monday, every 15 minutes. So let's do every Monday at 8 a.m. Pacific time. Okay, it's creating the schedule. And there you go. 8 a.m. is 3 p.m. UTC, 3:15. Sure. Schedule time is in UTC. This is the schedule ID. Let's see exactly. So we created this, and we can also see this in the schedule section of Toolhouse. So I go on schedules, and there's this agent with the schedule we just created. There you go, to categorization. So obviously I'm going to delete it because we don't need it. And that's it. Perfect. And so if I do ls again, you can see that's still there because it gets added to the YAML file, to your th file. So if I do this, there's no schedule anymore. Another thing to understand is that when you deploy and there's a schedule, it will create a schedule for you as well here. So if I do th deploy tweet categorization, we should expect to see the schedule being created. But obviously we remove it, so we don't need the schedule. Schedules, we're going to release this soon, so don't worry if this doesn't work just yet, okay? You can still create schedules for agents this way. You just select the agent you want. So tweet categorization, and then assign all this cadence. So Mondays at 8 a.m. Pacific. Variables, yeah, same. Okay, so what else can we build with Toolhouse? Well, Toolhouse has a bunch of like components, building blocks for agents. Like every agent needs the same thing and needs a bunch of things. The runtime, so it needs an actual like server, an actual cloud where you can host your agents, and those agents need to be reliable. So the same way they work on your laptop should be working on production. You should have this kind of reliability, and you might be surprised how hard it is to get right. And that happens. This kind of being unreliable happens for a reason, and the reason is that if you take things like scrapers, for example, what happens is a scraper works on your local IP address. So it simulates you typing on a web browser and getting a page. And that's like okay behavior, because like we are supposed as humans to go and browse the internet. But then when you go on the internet, you can't use, when you get and publish your agent on the cloud, you can't use your home connection anymore, right? And so the same page that was okay to browse on your home connection all of a sudden becomes not accessible because larger websites don't want like fake spam or fake visitors onto their websites, and so they block cloud addresses out. So we make sure that what you can browse on the cloud, you can also browse on your laptop. So we give you like this kind of consistency. But the runtime is where you make all these things happen. Then we give you a code sandbox. So similar to E2B or like Daytona, there's a bunch of these things. You don't have to pay extra, or you don't have to purchase a separate thing for that. We have it already in your agent. Memory, RAG. So all these things are already built into the agent we created. So if you want to use it, if the agent needs this kind of information, then you can have it. And you don't have to build anything. So you saw how we did the tweet categorization, right? So let me run this again. The tweet categorization on the OpenAI. What we did here was to go and look at X from our agent. And we didn't have to build or purchase the X API. We already put it for you there. So what's happening right now is that we're going live on X to get OpenAI's latest tweet, and then we use the agent in our cloud runtime to categorize it. And there you go. So this is fantastic. Let's see if we can change this to maybe Anthropic. Let's see what happens. Same thing, like you're going on our runtime calls the X API gets the latest tweet about Anthropic, then goes back to the model gets this and thinks about the tweet and gives you a category, because that's what the prompt for the agent was all about. See, there you go. And that's what we need, right? Perfect. So that's how you create an agent in Toolhouse. Behind the scenes, we do all the hard work, and that's all you need. Do we want to take a look at another thing I built? So I posted about this on my LinkedIn yesterday, and I'm basically, or today, when did I post it? Probably today. I built this thing that allows you to talk to my LinkedIn contacts, and it's a Toolhouse agent. So what did I do? I first got a CSV with my LinkedIn connections, and I'll show you how to get them. So you can get a CSV of all your LinkedIn connections. If you go on your LinkedIn, then you go on your data. So you go on settings, and then I think it's data privacy, and get a copy of your data. You can export your data, and you can get just like all your data. You request the archive. It tells you to upload it in 24 hours, but actually it takes a few minutes to get everything right. So you'll receive a CSV of your connections through your email. You download that, and you get a CSV with all your name and first name, last names, job description, sometimes even email of the people you've connected with. So I have like 4,000 plus connections. I don't remember. So I get all these connections there. Let's take a look at what my connection file looks like. So it's this one. Okay, downloaded, perfect. I'm just going to open it with numbers, which is the first thing that opens here. And you see like a bunch of information here: first name, last name, URL, the profile, company, and so on and so forth. So those are all my contacts. So I'm feeding my contacts to my agent here. And here, how I did it. I prompted the agent specifically to do this. So I told him, given the personality, his name is Handshake, and this the personal assistant of this one variable. You have access to this one person, LinkedIn's contact owner name. It's super cool to just like work with your agent in your code, because you can get this replacement for variables as well. So I tell them, you have access to this person contacts at this URL. You can make intros to, again, name. So every time you use a variable, obviously you replace the variable with the value you're going to put later. And that's basically how you create it, almost like a template agent. So you can actually clone this, and I'll show you how to do it. And then you can make your own, you can put your own name, email, and URL without changing anything else about the prompt. So we tell the agent to download my LinkedIn address book using the MCP server that we already have built in. So your agent can download files, whatever files that it can parse, like all text, and receive this address book. And then with the data, we give precise instructions. The first instruction is to read the contact list and select the contacts that match a specific query, which we're going to pass later. And then return a list of contacts that match that query in this format: first name, last name, job title, and then the profile URL. And then ask me if I want the owner of this address book to make an intro to them. If so, you need to specify name and email. And then the agent will send an email to the owner of the address book. In this case, it's going to be me with my email. And it's going to show you how to do this. So great. This is basically all there is. By default, the fallback values are those. So we can just like deploy this agent as it is. So let's do this. I'm going to go to Handshake personal. All right, this is the agent. So th deploy Handshake. Deploy an agent, and we're going to get, oh, I don't have this permissions to access this chat. That's right, because I have, this is a different account I have. So let me log in with a different user. Let's do this. I have so many configurations. So I'll show you what happens while I'm here when you log in. When you log in, this file gets created, .toolhouse. This contains your API key. And obviously I have like a test account that I'm using right now. I have my other account. So I'm going to just do a symbolic link to my other account. And that's how you can switch between accounts in Toolhouse. Let's see, .toolhouse.pro. This is my personal one, .toolhouse. Whoops. Toolhouse. There you go. And now if I redeploy, I should be able to access it. Yep, that's it. So now we have this agent here. Again, same URL, same stuff. And what we can do is to plug it into an app to just like make a bunch of fetch requests. So I'll give you the spoiler here. We already built it. I actually made the front end in Lovable, and then the back end is Toolhouse. So it's super cool because all I had to do is to basically just create a shitty chatbot interface using Lovable, and then Lovable knew to create the request, to make the request to Toolhouse. So here's how it works. Let me show you the code for this one. Let's see, code, workspace, handshake. There it is. I don't need the terminal for this one, but I'm going to just like skip through all the React part. But so what happens is when you hit enter, it calls the URL of the agent. So in agents.cloud.li slash the agent itself, the agent ID, right? With those questions, so those vars, question URL, and then contact owner email and current dates. Look at this. So when we go back to this vars, those are exactly the same vars. Then you can pass other stuff if needed, but those get ignored. So if you pass a variable that is not in the prompt, that nothing happens. If you don't pass a variable that's required, and no variables are required, then it just stops. Okay. All right. So what do we want to do now with this? I'm going to show you how this works. So in here, you can search my LinkedIn contacts. You can try some of those. Let's see who works in social media. Find contacts who work at social media companies. And there's a bunch. All right. So I'm going to do this. Would you like, Daniele, to make an introduction to any of these contacts? Yes, please. Can you make an intro to Kimberly Wu? Hi, Kim. If you're seeing us, we used to work together at Twitter. And so we're basically chatting with the Toolhouse agent very, very easily. All right, please provide me with your name and an email address so I can send the interaction email to Daniele. Okay. My name is Alice and my email is this one. Obviously not Alice, I'm Daniele. And what's going to happen is, look at this. So now is writing an email to me, sending it, and the email is probably going to look like, hey, Daniele, Alice is going to wanting to get an intro to Kim. Can you make an intro, please? Thank you. Oh, there you go. So I just received it. I don't know if you can see it. Let me see actually if I can pull it up from my Gmail. There you go. There you go. Interaction requests. Pop it up. And that's what Toolhouse just the Toolhouse agent handshake just sent. So super quick, super easy, and you can see a bunch of things. So we showed how to create an agent that fetches contacts, basically does RAG on my LinkedIn contacts, and then sends emails. Very, very easy, and just like one prompt and one API. And we also did streaming, which is super hard to do, and continuing conversation. So stateful conversations through context. So if I stop my conversation here today and then tomorrow I want to go back to this very conversation, I can do it because Toolhouse also gives you the ability to go back into context. So each run gives you a run ID, which is basically the identifier of the context of the session of that chat. Similar to when you go to ChatGPT, for example, and you start a conversation, then you see it on the left-hand side history bar, and then you can see it. You click on it, and then maybe a week after you continue that conversation, right? So that is exactly what happens here as well, except you don't have to build it out yourself. We already built it for you. So this is the intro request. So I can now reply and say, hey, Alice, of course, yeah, I'm going to make intro to that. So super useful thing. I hope, because I get asked this all the time, and now I have an agent that can do that for me. Great. So this is what we did. We used Lovable for the front end, which is like super cool. But let me show you the code behind. So what we did, we asked Lovable, hey, just when the user hits enter, make a post request to this URL here, which is the URL to the agent. This one. All right. And then we added some variables. The question is the question we actually enter, request.message, which is find contacts who work at social media companies. Can you please make an intro? So this is request.message. The contacts URL is the URL to my contacts, which I hosted already. And that's it. Then we made the post request, super simple, like nothing out of the ordinary here. Then obviously error handling, streaming. We just like stream the chunks as they come from the agent. And then look at this. With the request, we got this header called x_toolhouse run ID. This is the identifier of the same session. This is how you can make the agent understand that a message like this is a follow-up to a message like this. And they're just an identifier. So how do you use this identifier? Well, from the second message onwards, we told Lovable, hey, if the user makes a post request by sending the first message, from the second time onwards, then save this run ID somewhere and make a put request using this. And this is the put request. Look at this. So it's the same URL as before / the run ID. And here we just accept a message. And this message gives you basically the continuation. So you can do like continuity in the conversation. So we basically create a conversational agent, not just an assistant, like a conversational agent that fetches my LinkedIn and performs an action for me, which is sending an email with you asking me for an introduction to a specific person or people. And you can do this in multiple ways by using all the other tools we have available. So let's take a look at the MCP servers we have available while we're here. So I'll go back on app.toolhouse.ai, and then I go to my MCP servers. So Toolhouse is both an MCP server and a client. So it allows you to basically get an MCP server, build even yours. There's a functionality that's called MCP editor, where you can add code, and then we create the prompt and the connection for you, and every agent you create already has your tool available. So see what we have, like web search, code interpreter, get page contents. You can download files, which is the thing we used for Handshake, exactly this one. Describe image, so you can just get a screenshot of an image or a screenshot or an image actually, and then get a description of it textually. You can send emails, which is also used in this case. You can get a document. It's one of my favorite tools, doc parser. There you go, document parser. Document parser, this one allows you to get a URL and convert it to Markdown. So whatever the file you have, if it's a PDF, it becomes a Markdown. So like very compressed, but like bare bones text file with the contents of that file. And it can be useful to do RAG in context, which is fantastic. So you can bring your own data. And then you have more like things to get, other things like Notion, Gmail. And what I really like is like code interpreter, because with code interpreter, you can ask the LM to write custom code for everything. And it's fantastic because it's just there. And so you can see that your agents can make requests to APIs that we don't support, even by just like creating its own code. And it's very, very cool to use. get page contents, obviously, describe image, and so on and so forth. So, but those are the servers here. We'll have more coming up soon, and you can build your own, and you can bring even your own MCP servers if needed. So this is the things you can do. But you see what we've done here with Handshake. So by the way, this is the URL. Actually, let me go back if I can see my screen again and do this live stream. I'm going to post a comment here. Let me do a banner. Oh my God, super unfiltered. I love it. You can see like how the sausage is made. Add banner. There you go. There you go. So this is where we are. The code we're showing right now is this one for Handshake. This handshake -9 .result.app. I think I have a public rep of this, but it's like a Lovable project, so you can just like copy it and or ask Lovable to do this. And the backend again is Toolhouse. And so when we do this, we tell I told Lovable, hey, build a chat interface. When the user presses enter, call this URL and with these parameters. And when the user enters a second message, use a puts. So super, super easy. And so this is what it generated. Let me go back to the code. Apart from the UX, which we couldn't care less, to be honest, we saw Lovable building this thing. So request body with the Toolhouse environment. So where is it? m.local. This one, the agent URL is the one you get from th-deploy. Then you get the variables set here. And then the API call, which is like a plain fetch request. Super simple. Because this agent is public, we don't have to add any API key. I can make this private and then make it run with my API key. But because this was like a super public environment, I didn't want to leak my API key. And so let me show you what happens here. I go to the network panel and who works at OpenAI. So let's see if I have contacts working in OpenAI. Obviously I do. And here's the post request. See, like with the variables here, bundle, we just added. I'll show you what bundles are in just a moment. You stream the request, and here's who I know from OpenAI. So when you look at the headers, there's no API key, there's no authorization header here, but you get back this Toolhouse run ID, which is an identifier of this specific session here. So if I want an introduction made to Romain, I can just go here and say, oh, that would be lovely. That's it. And so now I'm going to add the second request, which is a put, and see this ID here. I don't know if I can make it bigger. Not this one, this one. There you go. So this ID here, the Toolhouse run ID, and this second request have the same identifier, this and this. So when we take a look at this request we just made, so this is the "oh, that would be lovely." See here, we sent a put request to the agent ID with the run ID, right? This was the payload, i.e. the message, and then we got the response back. Please provide me with your name and email address so I can send the interaction request to Daniela. All right. And so obviously now this is pending, but you can basically reference this later on, tomorrow, a week from now, and the context is still going to be there. So you can make the interaction whenever you want. Make sense? Like super, super simple. Like we started from this prompt here. Okay. Then we did a th-deploy handshake. We deployed the agent into an API that's publicly accessible. So you can try this right now. Like copy this. Let me go back here, do another banner. So you can just like get this here and on your browser, and it will run with my default parameters. I'm going to go back here. This is super unfiltered, like I don't have a setup, studio setup or anything like that. So this is a public agent you can call, you can use it, and then when you call it as a post request, like this, with this payload, and that's it. So the question was the first question. Then this is my name, the owner of the LinkedIn contacts, my email, and this is where my LinkedIn contacts live. And we got this first chunk back. They got formatted, obviously markdown, and so you see how nice this was, right? And then when we said, oh, that would be lovely, we received back this toolhouse run ID that we could use to then make a put request to the same agent on this, the context identifier. And that gave us the statefulness of the agent. And obviously we responded, okay, yes, I understand that you want this contact, so give me an email address. So we can continue the conversation. That's going to be the same request. Still, let's do it as Alice, and my email is daniel+alice@toolhouse.ai. See what happens? Exact same request with the exact same run ID, because we are continuing the same conversation. And yeah, that's a message. And what the agent did was behind the scenes to send me an email saying, hey, there's Alice that wants this connection to this guy. And I see it here. So I'm going to show you exactly what happened. See? Great. So try it out at handshake/9.versaldo.app. I don't know why I got the -9 at the end, but it doesn't matter. This is how you can build agents pretty quickly. So where are we hosting these agents? We are hosting them in our runtime. We are hosting them in the cloud. Each agent gets deployed as its own basically cloud function, and so they scale elastically, infinitely. So you can you don't have to worry about like peak requests or anything like that. All you have to do is to just build the prompt here. So you hit th new, then you change the title, the prompt, add some vars, bundles, visibility. You run it locally. So let me show you how this works. Thrun works with the variables you put here. So the question is still going to be this one, who works at OpenAI. Thrun, you see the prompt composed with all the variables. See, this is the same query. So we replace question with who works at OpenAI, and so on and so forth. And you see the output here. Then if you're happy with the output, then the CLI tells you, okay, here's what you can do next. Deploy, and we do deploy, handshake.yaml, deploy an agent. There you go. This gives us the same URL that you saw here. See, this is like the same. And it tells you, okay, now you can call it. And that's the next suggestion action. That's the last action you can do. And we called it. So if we call it this way, you're going to see that it uses the fallback values, the default values, but you can pass other values. So here, this is the default call on the left-hand side. And then let me show you the right-hand side. So here's one. And on the right-hand side, here's the call that you can personalize with your own variables. And this is just like, if you copy this as curl, there you go. It looks like this. Obviously, we're going to zap all this useless variables that Chrome puts in. That's what you need. So I just pass this JSON here, like this. One thing you can do actually is I don't know if you knew, but there's this option dash dash JSON in curl that appends the JSON payload and appends the content type headers to the request. So when we do this, this is a JSON post request. And it's the same basically as this, but with the JSON body attached. So great. Now if I can change the question here, and I can say, who works at Y Combinator? Do I know anybody who works at Y Combinator? I don't know. I'm from a different accelerator, but I might be surprised. I don't know. Maybe somebody is a founder from YC, and I'm going to get. Oh, look at that. Maybe I do know people. Perfect. So there you go. See how I change things. Now, if I go and do and inspect the headers with -v, you're going to see that we're going to get an x2laos run ID somewhere. There you go, x2laos run ID. So I can use this ID to make a follow-up request. So let's say I wanted to be connected to Casey. What I do is to do a put here. So x put with this identifier that I just got. So it's the agent ID / the x2laos run ID value. And then just the message, comma, I'll delete everything else. I don't need this anymore because this is a continuation of the previous conversation. And let's see, can I get an intro to Casey, please? And let's see what happens. Obviously, it's thinking, okay, please provide me with your name and email address so I can send an email to Daniele requesting the interaction to Casey. Again, we're going to say do the same. Here, I can continue this with the same ID. And basically, this is a session identifier for this specific agent here. So I can continue this conversation. My email is I'm going to use my fake Daniel at alice.sulaus.ai. My name is Alice. And then this is going to send the email to me saying, hey, there's Alice that wants this intro, as always, like we see this a bunch of times. So not bad. There you go. Email requesting intro has been sent. So if I go back to my Gmail, there you go. Perfect. See? Not bad. Nice. That's basically how we built an agent and an interface in just like 5 minutes. Super cool. I can't believe that we started an agent at 12:24 and it's 12:30 and we finished it. So that's basically what 2laos can give you with the new CLI, and it's a pretty cool way. I mean, I might be biased, but it's a pretty cool way for me to build stuff around. So really like that. I see that the banner was hiding this. I'll do another round. I don't care. I told people this would be completely unfiltered, so I don't have a setup for live streams. I mean, I do, but this wanted to be as raw as possible. So love to do this once more and do everything else. So here's what we did so far. So we did the login into the CLI. Then we did the creation of new agents. Then we run it to see if it works. Then we deployed it to get an API that we could call publicly. Then we called the API, and then we basically fit it into a lovable front end. Super simple, super cool. One thing you might want to do is to go and install 2laos, the CLI. And to install the tool CLI, you can go and do an npm install -g tool CLI. So this is on the npm registry. And when you do -g means it installs you globally, so you can call it from whatever place in your computer. You do that, you get the th shell, which I'm going to show you again because I'm super proud of what we did. This is our terminal. All right. This is th. You can play around, but you log in. You can create a new file. You can run an existing file. Files are just YAML files, right? So when you create a YAML file, you can just like edit it with VS Code, which I should have somewhere here, but there you go. Yep. So that's what an agent file looks like. It's not weird stuff. It already comes predefined with a title prompt. So you just need to play around and see what you like. Then there's no wrong way with tools. Like we made it as intuitive as possible. So you can just write things and see what happens. And to do that, you just do thrun. Then you see basically the prompt compiled with the variables. So you see if everything looks good to you, and it starts doing stuff. The difference between run and deploy is obviously run doesn't give you a URL, and you can see the MCP server calls. So if you notice in the prompt, we said first thing you need to do is to call download file to retrieve the LinkedIn address book. And if you look at the prompt here, you have access to my LinkedIn connections at this URL here. So first call download file to retrieve the LinkedIn address book, which is exactly this. Okay. And so I did that specifically. That's it. So we're happy with what it did. So we run deploy. This creates a new deployment. Done. This gave us the URL that we then added to our project here. And what we did was went to Lovable, create a front end, and then told Lovable, hey, when the user types enter to send a message, do this. Make a post request to this URL, which is the same URL of the agent that you just saw, with these variables. And then on the second time, get the run ID, which is the context identifier, basically a session ID, if you will, and make a put request to the same URL as before, / that run ID. And from every subsequent request after the first needs to be a put. So Lovable typed for us, reasoned for us, and built this kind of nice code. And the result was exactly this thing, where when we went to see the first request, I ran it again. Who works at TikTok? So the first request was a post to the same agent. We got back a toolhouse run ID. And you see, like, this is different from the one we had before because it's a new conversation. Perfect. A bunch of people went to TikTok. Nice. You know. And then if I want to actually, let's see. Can I get an intro to Anna, please? And then you see that we're using the toolhouse run ID to make a different put request. So the first post request had this payload with a question being who works at TikTok, and then my URL and LinkedIn connections. And then the second request was a put agent ID / the run ID that we got from before with this payload, just a message. And this was the message, right? Now, Another thing you can see here is that we still return the clause randomly just for confirmation. Like it's going to always be the same because it's the same context. But if you lost it the first time, you have it here now. And that's what it takes to really build agents. So behind the scenes, what we did was to host our agent in the runtime, and it worked just like on your laptop. We plugged it to a bunch of MCP servers. Specifically, we created a bundle with two MCP servers. One downloads a file, and one sends an email. So let me show you bundles. Bundles are basically just groups of MCP servers. And so you can create a bundle to restrict the choices of your agent. And we created this LinkedIn agent here. There you go. And you have the servers available, send email. We have the current time for good measure. It gives the agent the current time. Believe it or not, when you call any LLM, they don't know the current time. So you need to feed it yourself. And then file download. So this is the contents of our bundle. You could go without bundle, but then you'll see that the agent might sometimes use a different tool to do some operations. And so it's probably better, good best practice, if you want for more precision, to feed your agent with what you like, with the tools that you know are working. So you can start with no bundle whatsoever, see what happens, and then if you like the results, great. So let me show you actually what happens if you don't use a bundle. And this is going to probably break. So here we have this LinkedIn agent. So I'm going to just do a th run here, th run. You're going to see that the bundle is defaulting now to default. Look at the stream output for handshake. So download file. Okay, so see, maybe this works. Let's try it another time. Yeah, download file, so precise instructions, great. So we could probably try and, see, now it's filtering context, finding the relevant context, stays like this. So if the tool worked pretty well the first time, now the second time is kind of try to figure out what to do next. And so we want to restrict that. So let's interrupt this, try again. If we see that the behavior starts to kind of become not great, and it's not consistent anymore, then we can they go back to the bundle. And so when we created the bundle, we just restricted the agent to its own view of only 3 MCP servers. Okay, yeah, still better, but because we had that glitch, I still feel comfortable using the bundle here. So LinkedIn agent, save again, run again. And yeah, when we run it, you'll see that the LinkedIn agent bundle is back in here. See, sounds good. And then when we deploy it with this default bundle. So you can always override the settings. So look at what we did here. We passed the bundle information here. So this could have been like default. But when you deploy, if you don't pass this, it gets the configuration that got deployed from the th file. So you know that you don't necessarily have to pass this. We passed this just because this is a demo and we wanted to show you all the settings that were available. All right. So those are the variables. Also, you have those fallback values by default here. So if you don't pass anything, it will use these things. Here, we basically recreated the same values except for the question, which needs to change, obviously. And so there you have it. And that's the agent. Now you can clone this agent as well. So if you go on handshake-9.vercel.app, you click clone this agent for free, and you're going to get to Agent Studio where you can get the agent, clone it into your toolhouse, and you can run your own version. You can fork basically this agent and change it with your data or different prompts. You decide. But you can also use my agent here, no problem. All you have to do is to pick this URL. It's a public agent, so I want you to use it. And there's no API key that you need to add here. I made it this way because I wanted that to be public. And then you just have to change the variables. You need to bring your own data here. So create a CSV and put it somewhere. And then change contact owner email and contact owner name, and you're good to go. The question is going to be the question from your users. So super simple, super easy to do, and this is basically like, again, how easy it is to build agents on Toolhouse. So expect more in the next coming days and weeks, because we're obviously going to double down on making it extremely straightforward to have all these building blocks for agentic development and deployment done. So today we have orchestration, we have MCP servers, we have browser use, we have code sandboxing. So all these things are already in the cloud, already plugged into your agent. Then you can do orchestration on your own, because every agent is a specific specific API. Then you can orchestrate a workflow where you feed the result of one agent into a second agent, and that all it takes is a bunch of fetch requests. So you don't need expensive frameworks, or you don't need to build a ton of like unnecessary boilerplate. You just define the agents, test them individually, and then you have a script that, if you want to do like sequential agent handoff, first agent get the result and feeds into the second agent. If you want to do parallel, you can just do a promise.all and run all these agents at the same time. And then when all the promises have returned, you get the results and you feed into another orchestrator agent. So super simple to do. And we can show you how to do that pretty soon. But that's all built into Toolhouse already. So that's basically all I wanted to show you today. I hope you enjoyed the walkthrough, raw, unfiltered. Again, like I didn't want to bring in my gaming chair and so get my podcast microphone. I just wanted to see how somebody from the kitchen table can start building agents in 5 minutes and get something useful out there. So thank you, and remember, download the CLI npm i-g toolhouse.ai.cli. Sign up for Toolhouse, join.toolhouse.ai. Those are our docs, and see you soon. Bye.